Florida's like the hodgepodge melting pot for all kinds of crazy stuff. A new invasive species of termites, Asian termites are coming in.
We grew by over 300% this year.
All right, good morning, good morning. We are here in beautiful Boca Raton. We've got Max in the back here and Wyatt from Prodigy Pest. We're gonna go get some work done. Is that right, boys?
Yes, sir.
There we go, that's what I'm talking about. Where are we headed first, Wyatt? Maybe you could take us through our first stop.
Perfect here. So we're headed down south here towards Fort Lauderdale area. We kind of have a standard service booked today. First thing we're going to do when we get there, we're going to knock on the door, kind of introduce ourselves to the customer, let them know we're there to do our standard service, ask them if they're having any issues on the interior. If they have any issues on the interior, we're going to go inside, do our standard service on the interior. And after, we're going to do a follow-up service on the exterior. So we're going to walk you guys through kind of what we do here at Prodigy Pest Solutions. So the first thing we're going to do when we arrive on property, we're going to go up to the door, we're going to knock, introduce ourselves. We're going to ask them if they have any issues on the interior. If they say yes, we're going to go in, we're going to showcase our interior service. If not, we're going to stick to the exterior service and walk you guys through our kind of 4-point service. So usually if they don't answer, they're fully aware we're coming. So we just start on an exterior service. And then, if they are inside taking care of business or something like that, and they come out, then we, start the introduction, ask them if they want the interior, all that stuff. So right now we'll start on our exterior service. So first we're gonna start out here, we're gonna get a fresh Webster head here on. Then we're gonna use a little product called Delta Dust here. It's a dry dust. We're gonna use this to put on our brush. We're gonna sweep the eaves, underhang of the door there, around the windows, stuff like that. And it's gonna leave a small kind of residual around those areas. When you're brushing, treat for spiders, ants, all that other sort of stuff. Anything gets on that, that's gonna take care of it. Plus the height of a person, so 5 feet, so you're adding another 5 or 6 foot onto that. So we actually have 3 extensions here, and I can maybe kind of showcase how far this will actually reach. So we get a pretty high reach, almost as tall, a couple feet down from the top of the power poles. So what we're gonna do, basically, we start from the front of the home, going up and down the door hinges here, door frame, really up under these underhangs. A lot of times the spider webs and bugs like to hang out under these underhangs because no weather, no rain, anything that gets to them, so it doesn't clean them off. So it really builds up around these areas around the window trim. So we really try to stick to those areas, those kind of what we say harborage areas where they like to hang out at. That's where we really like to put our product.
We have mainly in a lot of newer development communities, even in 1 or 2 story homes, a big issue with spider egg sacs. That's where we really differentiate when it comes to the service. And Wyatt, he would not only do such a good and thorough job of cleaning everything up, but how quick he was, it kind of blew my mind. Because I've teched those homes too, and for me, I can scrub for 2 hours and probably I can do my best scrubbing and get maybe 60, 70%. And Wyatt would do the same job in probably 30, 40 minutes and get about 80, 90% of those spider eggs. So, it kind of blows my mind. Definitely is also tougher in the summertime. Not only are there more spiders, bugs in general, but it's 95 degrees out in Florida, so you're definitely sweating.
I already have a little bit pre-mixed here, already ready for the house here. So what we're gonna do now, we just concluded our Webster portion of the house. Now we have our flow zone backpack here. We're gonna use it, turn it to more of a mister setting here, and we're gonna go around the foundation and do a foundation treatment around this house, put a good barrier around it. Here at Prodigy Pest Solutions, we're well aware that insects and things can get immunities to these products. So we really try to switch up the products that we use on a home. So that way we're not using the same product over and over again. Really, when we're going around, we want to focus on entry points too, as a big emphasis. So these doorways, window trim, sliders in the back, anywhere where there's a natural entry point, that would be easy for, say, a spider or an ant or anything to crawl through. We really want to focus on putting product in that area a little bit heavier. So that way, if they do go for those entry points, they have to cross that spray. And eventually they do make it inside. Usually they, perish right into the doorway there. We want to be careful too how we hold it, because we don't want to get it on the glass here. So we want to kind of go at an angle, turn down and get just the front half of the window. So here, careful not to get anything on the glass of the window here. Trickier here where you got a lot of vegetation against the house. You just have to be a little bit more meticulous, kind of pull back the vegetation in order to get to the foundation here.
Some of the things we look for when it comes to some of these door-to-door accounts is, at least especially when I'm teching or working in the office, is you want to make sure that it's a quality account. So a few things we look for is making sure that the agreement's always signed, making sure some sort of payment is on file, whether they do debit or credit card, or they've contacted us and they're consistent with paying in check or cash, as well as seeing maybe even some of the notes in the account for any sort of if they called us out for a reservice, if there's any specific issue they might have hired us for, or if it's just a basic, general pest service.
So a lot of the pests actually are coming from, believe it or not, the mulch beds around the vegetation, the yard and stuff like that. A lot of times that's where they're living, they're breeding, that's where the colonies are at, especially the ants and things like that. They're down in the soil. And they're coming up out. A lot of times they're searching for, new places to have new colonies, food sources, stuff like that. A lot of times when they get inside, they're sitting, there's, ants out to scout basically for food sources, water sources. When they find that, they basically report back to the colony in the yard, tell them, hey, we found a food source, we found a water source. And then from that point on, it's like a conga line, back and forth. They're following that trail back and forth to food and water, reporting back to the colony. You want to cut that connection off. So it is more or less a 1-2 punch. We got the barrier around the house with the spray. Now we're going to go around and treat the yard and the mulch beds with the granular. Next, we actually have a commercial property. It's at Anytime Fitness. We didn't get to showcase our interior service here, so we're going to do that there.
It's just about a 2-year anniversary of opening up our Boca Raton office, which is Prodigy's second branch. It was kind of I was just knocking doors, trying to grow our business. Wyatt, our service manager, was pretty much at the time our one technician, and I just kept rolling from there. I personally sold on the doors over 700 accounts for this branch. I'm just trying to make it profitable and grow it. And from there, we just added on another tech slowly. And then now I think we're at
we're at 9 technicians right now, right?
Yeah.
9 full-time technicians and about 2,600 accounts.
Woof. That's right, baby.
So
doing real work, doing real numbers.
first year was pretty slow. It was pretty much mostly just me, just selling. And then this past year, we had a bigger sales team, which definitely helped us grow a lot. We grew by over 300% this year.
Wow. So right now, we're kind of positioned in a way where we're kind of sandwiched between the ocean here and the Everglades. A lot of our, customers and clientele have spider issues this time of year. It's always a kind of thing where the spiders are climbing up on the homes. They're trying to make webs. They're trying to catch mosquitoes, other flying bugs and stuff like that around homes. So there's a lot of buildup, spider, eggs and webs and debris. So we really try to concentrate this time of year of making sure when we get to these homes, we use our Webster, we use a treated brush. We're getting down those webs, we're getting down those eggs, so that doesn't consistently build up, on those homes. For all intents and purposes, look like a haunted house. So we really try to focus on that, spend a lot of time on the homes, getting down those webs, getting down those eggs, making them look, a lot more presentable. Florida's like the hodgepodge melting pot for all kinds of crazy stuff. So we're always finding new stuff every day and trying to educate ourselves on, this new thing that's popping up.
Do you guys have to deal with the iguanas at all?
We see the iguanas. We don't deal with them or treat for them, anything like that. But they're definitely something that we do a lot of our exclusion work for rodents on homes. And the iguanas like to get on the roofs too. So, part of our exclusion work, sealing out, roofs for rats and things like that also help with, iguanas and other things from utilizing those entry points.
And then the last invasive one that I think everybody thinks of are the boas. Right?
Yes, yeah. So luckily we haven't ran across any boas or anything like that. We get an occasional, racer snake or water snake or something like that around the home, but I don't think any, none of the technicians here ran into any of the boas, thankfully. We also have, being a coastal area, have a lot of termite issues between subterranean, dry wood, new invasive species of termites. Asian termites are coming in. So they do a lot of damage each year, billions and billions of dollars in damage each year. So it's our job while we're doing our general pest control around the house to do good inspections, monitor for these types of things. So that way we can be preventative, jump on it early. So that way they're not doing hundreds, if not millions of dollars in damage to your homes.
Maybe you can talk us through what the sales process looked like for Prodigy. How are you guys growing?
So when we first started, most of it came mainly through door to door, mainly just being myself knocking doors and selling, over the span of about a little over a year, like 700 accounts. And then from that, we had a bigger door-to-door sales team the second year. And after that, that really built our customer base, especially in some of these communities when we're able to get such a dense customer base. From there, it's a lot easier to get call-in sales or referrals and just grow our name. And we get posted in the HOA group chats or the Facebook page. And now we're able to get a lot of business from that or so organically. But mainly all of that stemmed from starting from door to door when nobody really heard our name or anything like that.
For this property here, we're doing Anytime Fitness. Really, we're going to focus on mostly entryways, to the building. So front door area. We're really going to focus on bathrooms, drains, stuff like that. We really see on commercial properties a lot of roach issues and stuff like that. So we're trying to prevent those areas. So we're really going to be focused on just entryways, just on harborage areas, just on break room, bathroom areas. We have rodent stations set up on this property. We'll open them up, check them, see if the baits have been eaten, or if they're getting old. A lot of times they get moisture on them, they get old, they just need to be replaced. So we'll freshen those up. So we'll open this box up here. Yep, so it looks like the baits, this one here has been chewed on. Seems like they've already brought a few things in here for nesting material. So basically all these baits need to be changed out here. We'll pop these open. We'll discard these later. Put them in here for now. We'll just outfit each one of these with a fresh piece of bait. Also, a good thing to note on these bell stations here, they're dog and child proof too. So when we're putting these around the home, we don't have to worry about your pets or anything getting into these. They have 2 holes on each side where the rodent can go in, do the baits, and then leave. A lot of times when they're going down, they hug the foundation here. So you kind of want to put the entry side against the foundation. And when they're running along, they'll just kind of cruise this edge and they'll naturally funnel right into the rodent bait box.
You and I were kind of chatting about the sales process for Prodigy and even handling things internally. Maybe you can walk us through a little bit more, give us a bit more information about what that looks like.
So this past year, we definitely had a really big door-to-door sales team. Our door-to-door team sold around 2,200 accounts. We did 2.1 million in new business. And that was done over a period of about 4 to 5 months. That was definitely an intense period for the whole office. When we're selling that much, it definitely also takes a toll on, the technicians and the service team and the office staff trying to keep up with, all the new customers at once. It was definitely pretty aggressive. We would knock from pretty much 10, 11 a.m. until all of our guys committed to knock till 8 p.m. every night. So it was a lot of growth, but it was definitely a lot of work. Door to door is pretty competitive. There's, I think, probably around 10 other door-to-door pest control companies that are doing the same thing as us or trying to. And it's not always easy when you're going up against knocking behind other companies and people telling you you're the 8th guy, 9th guy that stopped by and you're still trying to get the sale.
Man, so how do you train your guys up to field those conversations? Like, you're the 8th guy to knock on my door.
You just make a joke about it, or I tell them not to address it. Don't even think about it, because there's no point. It's nothing you can do. That's just the way it is, and it's going to be like that wherever you go. That's just how the world works. There's going to be competition. Usually that means like, okay, we're doing this for a reason. Like pest control, there's other companies knocking door to door for pest control for a reason. It's because it's a good business. So a lot of our guys, how our sales guys handle that is just being likable, being personable, making a joke about it, and then going right on with your pitch. If people like you, they're gonna like you, regardless if you're the 1st guy or the 10th guy. Our top sales rep this year, he sold 400 accounts, and he by far knocked 3 times more doors than any other person in our office. And he was able to sell 400 accounts in about 4.5 months just from his work ethic, really.
One thing that comes to mind is, multiple times there'll be people in the back enjoying their backyard, obviously. As a technician, when you get to the property, first thing you do, you ring the bell, knock on the door, do all you can do when you're on the property to alert, the property owner that you're there. But a lot of times they're out back, they might be enjoying the pool or something like that, and they don't actually hear you. So when you're walking around to do your exterior service, you might stumble upon them in the back, half clothed, stuff like that. So I'm sure there's a lot of people in the industry that can tell you they've walked around the back of the home and came upon the homeowner barely clothed in the pool, swimming or something to that effect.
I would say most homeowners don't realize, well, pest control is how affordable it is. Really, it's not that expensive for what you're getting. And then the alternative is you can try to do it yourself and either spend a ton of time, steal money on products, and barely get any of the results. And on top of that, you might run into issues down the road where you're going to have an actual problem that you can't handle yourself, and it's going to be a lot more expensive down the road.
I think my favorite part of the job is mainly the people you meet, connections you meet, on property with people. You got to think, we do 11, to 12 homes a day. You multiply that times a week, a month, a year, you're meeting so many new people, and the connections and friendships and stuff you make, is invaluable in my opinion. People underestimate how hard you can work in this job, especially when you're brushing down these 3-story, 2-story homes and stuff like that. People really appreciate, you putting the work in on their homes, and there's a lot of friendships and connections to be made out of meeting all these people. So basically, when we bring a technician in, whether experienced or not, we take them through what we say the Prodigy way of doing things. So we have them ride along for up to 2 weeks where they sit in the truck. We introduce them to, the customers so they get familiar with their area. We're always going to take that new person in and teach them kind of our way, mold them to what we want to see, what we want to do. So we basically say, or we call that the Prodigy way.